Whoosh! Above the sky, a streak of light swept by at an astonishing speed, faintly accompanied by a dragon's roar. It was an illusory dragon shadow, carrying a figure on its back, roaring across the horizon with incredible speed. Chen stood atop the dragon shadow, gazing at the rapidly retreating earth below. There was a hint of awe in his eyes. The speed of the dragon sword art was truly incredible. No wonder the White Dragon Supreme was able to escape the encirclement of several supreme powerhouses from the Dragon Demon Palace back then. Based on Chen's current understanding of the dragon sword art, he knew that it could be divided into stages. The first stage, Dragon Shadow, the second stage, Dragon Soar, and the third stage, Dragon Escape. Now that Chen's strength had broken through to the heaven-reaching stage, his power had surged considerably. His Dragon Soar art had advanced to the second stage, Dragon Soar. At this level, his spiritual energy could manifest as a giant dragon, carrying him through the sky and the earth. The speed was such that it felt like chasing the stars and the moon. Chen was confident that with his current speed, even those in the heaven-reaching stage, let alone those who had crossed the first tribulation, the physical body tribulation, wouldn't be able to catch up to him. It was precisely for this reason that Chen dared to act and seize treasures despite being watched by so many powerful figures. He was confident that after obtaining the treasure, he could leave safely. I wonder when I'll reach the third stage, Dragon Escape, Chen muttered to himself. It was said that if one could cultivate the dragon sword art to the level of Dragon Escape, they would transform into a giant dragon. At that point, they could traverse space itself, and even ordinary supreme powerhouses would be left in the dust. Chen sighed with longing in his heart before regaining his focus. He glanced at the distant horizon and faintly sensed some fluctuations in spiritual energy approaching. It seemed that some individuals were still unwilling to give up, trying to catch up and snatch the treasure. I need to find a place to heal my wounds first, Chen thought to himself, eager to see what use the heavenly supreme bone would have. With that thought, Chen focused, and the illusory dragon beneath him surged forward at incredible speed. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the sky. A few minutes later, he had arrived in a range of steep mountains. With a wave of his sleeve, the dragon's shadow dissipated, and Chen rushed into a concealed little valley. Deep in the valley, Chen found a crack in the mountain and crawled in. He sat cross-legged, not immediately taking action. Instead, he gathered all his spiritual energy, hiding in the crack like a stone, blending with the surroundings. Not long after Chen concealed his spiritual energy, the sound of wind cutting through the air could be heard. Figures streaked across the sky, scanning the area. Finally, they all cursed angrily and left. Within the mountain, Chen slowly opened his closed eyes. A faint smile tugged at his lips before his expression became serious. He carefully took out the now eerily silent, pitch-black, heavenly supreme bone. At this moment, the heavenly supreme bone was eerily quiet, no longer radiating the terrifying oppressive force it once had. It appeared completely ordinary. Chen fiddled with it for a moment, but his brow furrowed. He sighed in frustration, realizing that no matter how he moved it, the black bone remained still. When he tried to infuse spiritual energy into it, it was completely ineffective. As soon as the spiritual energy touched the bone, it was forcefully repelled. Clearly, the mysterious black paper had sealed the heavenly supreme bone so completely that it prevented any external probing. Chen held the black bone and gave a wry smile. It seemed that only the mysterious black paper could help him now. His current strength was far too insufficient to handle such a treasure. "All right, you're the boss. I'll leave it to you," Chen muttered inwardly. As his thoughts settled, the mysterious black paper in his chi suddenly erupted with black light. On the thin sheet of black paper, a glowing symbol seemed to appear, like the most ancient of characters, inscribed with the mysteries of the universe, enigmatic and inscrutable. Whoosh! A beam of light shot out from the mysterious black paper, rushing toward Chen's palm and striking the small black bone. Sizzle! Sizzle! The color on the black bone began to rapidly fade. In just a few moments, the heavenly supreme bone became translucent and flawless, like jade. It was perfect in every way. Furthermore, this time, the Heavenly Supreme Bone did not resist as violently. Mu Chen focused intently, staring at the jade bone. Its surface was unusually smooth, flawless, like a perfect piece of art. Due to the crystal-clear nature of the jade bone, Mu Chen could see, to his astonishment, that within it, there were drops of golden-colored blood slowly flowing. There was actually Heavenly Supreme Essence blood within this jade bone? Mu Chen's heart raced as he gazed at the golden blood. This was Heavenly Supreme Essence blood. Though there were only a few drops, anyone would be envious of it. Even a supreme powerhouse would be tempted by such a treasure. While it was true that a Heavenly Supreme had once meditated in the sacred Spirit Mountain range in ancient times, with the passage of time, all that remained of that Heavenly Supreme's legacy had been eroded by the years. Even his powerful essence blood had gradually dissipated into the world. But who could have guessed that a few drops would still be preserved inside this jade bone? This was an ultimate treasure. Mu Chen's breath grew heavy with excitement. Suddenly, a hum echoed from within his chi-si. The mysterious black paper within vibrated again. The jade bone slowly levitated from Mu Chen's palm. Then, light began to radiate from it, and the golden blood drops slowly seeped out, floating quietly before him. The faint golden glow illuminated the surrounding mountain, making it seem as though it were forged from gold. Mu Chen fixated on the golden blood. Though there wasn't a powerful spiritual energy fluctuation emanating from it, he could sense the terrifying power hidden within those drops of blood. Even a supreme would be shocked and awed by this. Moreover, within the golden blood, there seemed to be a low rumble of thunder. It seemed that this Heavenly Supreme had cultivated a special lightning-based technique in life, which was why his essence blood contained such terrifying thunderous power. Whoosh! Suddenly, the golden blood transformed into a streak of gold, shooting directly toward Mu Chen. In the blink of an eye, it entered his body, leaving Mu Chen horrified. This change nearly overwhelmed Mu Chen with fear. He had long coveted this Heavenly Supreme Essence blood, but with his current strength, he could hardly withstand its power. Just one drop could easily cause his body to explode. Sizzle. However, the golden blood did not care whether Mu Chen was willing or not. It surged directly into his body, traveling through his blood and meridians. The golden hue spread within him at an astonishing speed, much like ink falling into water. Boom, boom. Terrifying thunder roared within Mu Chen's body. His face turned pale as he felt the horrific power erupting inside him. His body felt as though it would explode at any moment. The power was too frightening. He couldn't bear it. But just as Mu Chen despaired, the golden blood didn't stay long within his flesh. Instead, it rushed into his chi-si, and finally merged with the mysterious black paper. Whoosh, whoosh. As the golden blood entered the black paper, it trembled, and golden patterns appeared on its surface. These patterns seemed to be ancient writings hidden deep within the paper, radiating an endless aura of mystery and unpredictability. It was as if the Heavenly Supreme's essence blood had activated something hidden within the mysterious black paper. Mu Chen was eager to know what was hidden within, but he couldn't afford to be distracted. Though the golden blood had been absorbed, traces of it still remained in his blood and flesh. Even this small amount of residual essence blood was terrifying to Mu Chen. His entire body felt like it was in a furnace, as though his flesh and blood were burning. The golden arcs of light, filled with lightning, weaved through his flesh, and intense pain spread throughout his body. His veins bulged on his forehead, his face contorted in agony. His body was on the brink of collapse. But at this moment, the mysterious black paper seemed to be undergoing some kind of change, offering no help at all. Mu Chen clenched his teeth tightly, and with a wave of his robe sleeve, a lotus resembling black lightning surged into appearance. This was the Thunder God Lotus he had obtained while assisting the North Abyss Dragon Xun'er. The Thunder God Lotus was extremely effective for tempering the physical body, and ever since he acquired it, Mu Chen had relied on its power to cultivate the Thunder God body. Now, however, his situation was dire. The remnants of the Heavenly Supreme Essence blood were terrifyingly overwhelming, nearly bursting his body apart. He had to make himself stronger once again. Otherwise, he feared he wouldn't escape today's peril. Sitting atop the Thunder God Lotus, Mu Chen endured the burning sensation coursing through his body. He formed hand seals, activating the cultivation technique of the Thunder God body. Although he was in a precarious situation, this could be seen as an opportunity. If he could absorb and refine the remnants of the heavenly supreme essence blood, his Thunder God body might achieve another breakthrough. A successful breakthrough would greatly enhance Mu Chen's strength, but failure to do so would likely cost him his life today. Grinding his teeth, Mu Chen resolved to give it everything he had. Boom! A fierce, thunderous roar echoed violently within Mu Chen's body. His insides appeared to glow a brilliant gold. Even his flesh, blood, and bones were bathed in this golden hue, as if forged from gold. This gold was violently eroding Mu Chen's body, interspersed with faint golden lightning. While this golden lightning was minuscule, it contained horrifying power, causing his body to show signs of imminent explosion. Excruciating pain spread like wildfire. With each strengthening of the body, Mu Chen had to undergo extreme suffering. Yet, after successfully overcoming that transformation, he would gain powerful strength that captivated many, drawing them in despite the pain. The pursuit of power rendered them unable to abandon it. Similarly, Mu Chen could not forsake it either. So, he fervently operated the Thunder God body, with black lightning appearing within his flesh, tirelessly attempting to refine the golden light surrounding it. Even though the black lightning contained some power from the black divine thunder, the golden lightning was palpably more terrifying. Even the formidable black divine thunder seemed weak before it. This was understandable, as the black divine thunder was merely the tribulation faced by a spirit beast during its demonic transformation. A trial somewhat akin to the 3 minor tribulations human beings faced when breaking through to the supreme realm. Meanwhile, the golden lightning originated from a heavenly supreme. In the eyes of such an existence, the black divine thunder likely appeared as just a slightly stronger form of ordinary lightning. Fortunately, what had invaded Mu Chen's flesh was merely the remnants of that heavenly supreme's essence blood. Although powerful, its strength would eventually wane. As long as he could endure, he'd gradually be able to refine and absorb it. Thus, Mu Chen relentlessly urged the Thunder God body, as strands of black lightning emerged from his flesh, surging forth one after another. Each attempt would be assimilated by the golden lightning, but during such fusion, fragments of golden light drifted away, greedily absorbed by his flesh. The flesh that absorbed those fragments of golden light subtly began to glow with a golden hue, emitting an indescribable sense of overwhelming strength. After undergoing intense pain, Mu Chen gradually adapted and focused his mind, consuming the overpowering golden lightning little by little for absorption. Externally, Mu Chen remained seated upon the Thunder God Lotus, which shimmered with black lightning, continuously injecting its black divine thunder power into his body, aiding in the consumption of the golden lightning. Under this combined internal and external assault, Mu Chen's previously agonized expression began to relax, as he gradually began to gain control over the turmoil within him. Time swiftly passed, nearly a day gone by in the blink of an eye. Throughout this day, Mu Chen remained motionless atop the Thunder God Lotus, black lightning emanating from the lotus nearly engulfing him. The lightning pulsed slowly, releasing waves of astonishing power. Buzz! Suddenly, amidst the black lightning cloaking Mu Chen's body, faint golden light erupted. Mu Chen's body once again materialized, but this time, he wore no top. A faint golden glow enveloped his skin, making it appear as though a golden film had been applied to his entire body, almost giving him the semblance of having a golden body. Moreover, compared to the day before, his strength had grown significantly. The golden glow lasted for a while before gradually fading, and at the center of Mu Chen's chest, black lightning bolts began to form. The lightning extended and coalesced into a lightning rune on his chest, two-rune thunder body. After absorbing and refining the remaining golden essence blood, Mu Chen's thunder god body had finally progressed, reaching the level of the two-rune thunder body. His tightly closed eyes slowly opened at this moment. Within his black pupils, golden light flickered, giving him an exceptionally sharp gaze. Lowering his head, he glanced at the lightning rune on his chest, which was slowly dissipating, and a satisfied expression appeared in his eyes. The body-forging divine art was already difficult to cultivate, and the thunder god body was even more challenging. Ever since Chen obtained the complete method to cultivate the thunder god body, he had never ceased his training. But today, with the help of a trace of heavenly supreme essence blood, he had finally reached the level of the two-rune thunder body. Leaping down from the thunder god lotus, he waved his sleeve to put it away. He clenched his fist and felt the overwhelming, almost explosive, power within his body. Unable to hold back, he grinned. The two-rune thunder body was far stronger than the one-rune thunder body. Based on his estimation, even those powerful cultivators who had overcome the tribulation of the physical body might not be able to surpass his current strength in terms of pure physical prowess. The thunder god body truly had its merits. After sensing the surging power within him for a while, Chen turned his attention to the piece of jade bone still floating in front of him. The essence blood within the jade bone had already been absorbed by the mysterious black paper, leaving it hollow. However, despite the loss of essence blood, the jade bone still contained immense power. Chen scratched his head. After all, this jade bone was left behind by a heavenly supreme, containing vast power. However, he clearly wasn't capable of refining it yet, so he could only put it away for now. Such treasures would surely come in handy in the future. He carefully took the jade bone and stored it safely. Ah, the mysterious black paper. It was then that Chen remembered the most important item. He hurriedly immersed his consciousness in the Qi Sea, where he once again saw the mysterious black paper floating peacefully. However, this time, it had undergone a drastic change. The surface, once dark and profound, now bore golden patterns that spread across it. These patterns gave off an ancient and mysterious vibe, as if they recorded the mysteries of heaven and earth. Chen focused his mind, and the soul within his Qi Sea stood up, cautiously approaching the page of black paper adorned with golden lines. After a moment of hesitation, he gently touched it with his small hand. Buzz. The moment Chen's soul made contact with the mysterious black paper, it erupted with golden light. The golden light formed a protective barrier, within which ancient words slowly flowed. Chen's soul stared at those profound, ancient characters. Although he couldn't understand them, he was entranced by their power. It was as if an ancient voice echoed in his mind, giving him a sudden insight. Some obscure information from the primordial era flowed into his heart. Great Sun, indestructible body. Chen's heart trembled, his consciousness snapping back into focus. He inhaled sharply, his eyes fixed in shock on the ancient golden characters. The Great Sun, indestructible body. It was a divine technique to cultivate the supreme Dharmakaya, and not just any supreme Dharmakaya, but one that was incredibly terrifying. The supreme Dharmakaya was a symbol of ascension to the supreme realm. Only true supreme beings could condense a supreme Dharmakaya, thus gaining control over heaven and earth, wielding the power to destroy the world with a single motion. Chen had seen the supreme Dharmakayas of the Black Dragon Supreme and Grand Tsang Academy Headmaster before, and they were powers that could shake the very heavens and earth. That power seemed beyond any conceivable means of countering. However, in this great thousand world, supreme Dharmakayas, as symbols of supreme existence, were also ranked according to their strength. Each of the supreme Dharma bodies in the 99 ranks is extremely terrifying, and their cultivation methods are often secret techniques passed down by certain races or forces. Only core members are qualified to cultivate them. Of course, apart from these 99 supreme Dharma bodies, there are other types of supreme Dharma bodies, but these are considered relatively ordinary. Most are simply condensed by one's own spiritual energy and don't possess many extraordinary abilities, so they are not qualified to enter the ranks of the 99. If we were to ask what attracts the supreme powerhouses the most, it would likely be the cultivation methods of the supreme Dharma bodies listed among the 99 ranks. To obtain such cultivation methods, some supreme powerhouses are willing to submit to powerful races and forces, which shows just how much they value it. Now, before Mu Chen appeared an extremely terrifying supreme Dharma body. The Great Sun Indestructible Body. According to the information Mu Chen knew, it seemed that the 99 supreme Dharma bodies didn't include this one. However, when he got information from that mysterious black paper, it sent a chill down his spine. The Great Sun Indestructible Body was actually only a fragment. The complete form of this fragment was called the Eternal Undying Body. Mu Chen opened his eyes, his expression frozen. He vaguely remembered that among the 99 supreme Dharma bodies that shook the great thousand worlds, the fourth-ranked supreme Dharma body was called the Eternal Undying Body. The Eternal Undying Body, the fourth-ranked supreme Dharma body among the 99 in the world. Mu Chen's expression remained blank, his hand trembling slightly. An indescribable feeling of dread surged in his heart. He could not imagine that such a terrifying thing was hidden within this mysterious black paper, the fourth-ranked supreme Dharma body in the world. If this information were to leak, Mu Chen was certain that even the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy would not be able to protect him, because the temptation was too great. Countless supreme powerhouses would go mad in a frenzy to seize it, regardless of the cost. Although what he had obtained now was only a fragment called the Great Sun Indestructible Body, and not the true, eternal undying body, no matter what, as long as he successfully cultivated this supreme Dharma body, he would be qualified to pursue the eternal undying body. And when the day came that he truly perfected it, he was confident that, whether it was the Luo God clan or the mysterious race his mother belonged to, he would have the capital to venture out. Facing such temptation, even Mu Chen's usual calm was shaken. His eyes reddened, and his breath quickened. Mu Chen kept taking deep breaths. After a long while, he slowly started to regain his composure. He sat down on the ground in a daze, licking his dry lips. Deep in his black eyes, flames were burning. An intense desire and pursuit of power. Only with enough power could he protect the people he cared about. Only then could he stand in front of Luoli and shield the girl he liked from all the storms. He could also rush to the mysterious race his mother belonged to, take her back, and reunite their family. Eternal undying body? Mu Chen slowly clenched his fist, flames flickering in his eyes. A low growl seemed to echo in his heart. He had to obtain it. He needed more information. Mu Chen once again focused his mind on the Qi Si, sensing the ancient information hidden within the mysterious black paper. This time, some complex and obscure information appeared in his mind. Immortal Tome. Primordial Divine Codex. Mu Chen narrowed his eyes, some realizations beginning to dawn in his mind. As expected, the mysterious black paper in his body was also some kind of fragment. According to the ancient information recorded on it, the mysterious black paper seemed to have originated from the so-called Immortal Tome. This was a true primordial divine codex. So the mysterious black paper came from the Immortal Tome, Mu Chen muttered, his expression thoughtful. That means there should be a total of 4 pages of the Immortal Tome, and I only have one of them. If these 4 supreme Dharmakayas can all be successfully cultivated, then the legendary, eternal, undying body will once again descend upon this world. It is said that this kind of supreme Dharmakaya is immortal, indestructible, and invulnerable. Such power makes even the heavens, earth, and spirits tremble in fear. Immortal and indestructible. Mu Chen muttered to himself. This is terrifying. Could such an existence really exist in this world? However, collecting the other 3 pages of the Immortal Tome will be incredibly difficult. Mu Chen smiled helplessly. From the information he had gathered, he already knew that the Immortal Tome not only recorded the cultivation method for the eternal undying body, but it was also an earth-shattering ancient artifact, possessing the terrifying power to destroy entire planes. Currently, the Immortal Tome has been divided into 4 parts, each becoming one of the 4 pages of the Immortal Tome. But these 4 pages are not simple. They inherit the power of the original Immortal Tome, and each possesses unique and powerful abilities that even some divine artifacts cannot compare to. As for the special powers of the other 3 pages, Mu Chen did not know. However, the page he possessed seemed to be called the Seal page. which had sealing powers. This was why the 9 Nether Sparrow and the Great Sumeru Demon Pillar were both suppressed and sealed within his body. In other words, if Chen were to collect all 4 pages of the Immortal Tome, he would not only gain the cultivation method for the eternal undying body, but also obtain an artifact passed down from the primordial era. Although Chen did not fully comprehend the significance of such a powerful artifact, he could faintly sense its extraordinary nature. Now that this page of the Immortal Tome has been activated by the Heavenly Supreme's essence blood, perhaps I will be able to use some of its power in the future? Chen licked his lips. He had finally unraveled the mystery of the mysterious black paper, but he hadn't expected the conditions to activate the Immortal Tome to be so harsh. It required the essence blood of the Heavenly Supreme, a being of immense power who guards a region of the world. Ordinary people would never dare even think about obtaining such a thing. If it weren't for his fortunate encounter, Chen believed that even with years of effort, he would still find it impossible to uncover the secrets of the mysterious black paper. Thinking of this, Chen couldn't help but grin foolishly. He hadn't expected that his trip to Sacred Spirit Mountain would bring him such an opportunity even before reaching the baptism grounds. It seemed he really hadn't come in vain. Chen stood up with a feeling of peace and contentment. The cultivation method for the Great Sun Indestructible Body, a supreme Dharmakaya, could only be practiced after reaching the supreme level. Even though he guarded such a precious treasure now, he could only wait patiently. But Chen was not in a hurry. This thing was inside him, and no one could take it from him. He was also looking forward to the day when he would break through to the supreme level. While the Great Sun Indestructible Body wasn't listed among the 99 supreme Dharmakayas, it was one of the prerequisites for cultivating the eternal undying body. If it was weak, Chen would never believe it. It's time to go. Chen smiled. He had spent a day here in training, and now most people had likely already headed toward the baptism grounds. He had to hurry too. Though he had already gained much, even without the Sacred Spirit baptism, he could accept it. But since he was representing the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy, it wouldn't reflect well on them if he didn't make an impression here. With that thought, Chen stopped lingering, quickly gathered his things, and flew out through the mountain crack. He paused in midair, surveyed his surroundings, then turned and sped directly toward the deepest part of the Sacred Spirit Mountain range. On the journey, Chen didn't make any further stops, even when some spirit treasures appeared. He remained unmoved and sped up, heading straight for the baptism grounds. A day had passed, and by now, many powerful figures had likely arrived. After all, within Sacred Spirit Mountain, only the baptism grounds was considered a true treasure in everyone's eyes. Along the way, because many people had the same destination, Chen gathered some information. Although only a day had passed, things had already entered a heated stage. Among the information, Chen also heard some news about himself, which was exactly what happened yesterday when he seized the treasure. During the treasure hunt, he had crippled Wu Tong's arm, which made his name spread throughout Sacred Spirit Mountain. Many strong individuals who originally looked down on him began to reconsider. After all, no matter what methods Chen used, he was still only at the early heaven-reaching stage, while Wu Tong had once survived the body tribulation. Although he failed to pass, an average late heaven-reaching stage cultivator wouldn't dare to challenge Wu Tong. However, now even Wu Tong had his arm crippled by Chen. Apart from a few top figures from the younger generation of the North Tsang continent, who would still dare to underestimate him. As for this newfound reputation, Chen didn't care much. In fact, he preferred if others looked down on him more, for that would only make them pay a heavier price when the time came to act. Moreover, from the information he gathered, Chen knew that all the strong individuals on Sacred Spirit Mountain had gathered at the baptism grounds. Countless powerful figures were fighting fiercely to climb the 9 heavenly steps there. Chen looked up, gazing into the distance, frowning slightly. He wondered how Senior Xia was doing. With her strength, she shouldn't be in any danger, right? He clearly had a good impression of Xia Yuran. She had helped him many times, so he naturally didn't want anything bad to happen to her. Whoosh! Chen took a deep breath. The illusory figure of a dragon appeared beneath his feet, and with a long roar, his speed suddenly skyrocketed. rushing through the sky at an astonishing pace towards the deepest part of Sacred Spirit Mountain. Since he was already here, he would never let go of the Sacred Spirit baptism. At the very center of Sacred Spirit Mountain Range. This was the central point of the Sacred Spirit Mountain Range, and now it was filled with a sea of people. Wild spiritual energy surged into the sky, and in midair and on the ground, countless figures were caught in fierce battles. The collision of spiritual energy created a spectacular display across the heavens and earth. This was the final point of Sacred Spirit Mountain, and also where all the great battles would reach their conclusion. The powerful figures from all over the North Tsang continent had gathered here, and to stand out in such a place, to earn the right to climb the 9 heavenly steps, one had to display true strength. Here, only power held real authority. Even if you had a powerful background, those who had been stimulated by the Sacred Spirit baptism and were burning with jealousy would ignore it completely. If they wanted to kill, they would just kill. The rules here were simple. Back then, even participants from the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy had been buried here. What did that make the others? Without strength, you could only cower here like a turtle. At the center of the chaotic battlefield, there stood a towering peak. Above its summit, a dazzling light emitted. Upon closer inspection, that light revealed a massive cloud ladder, divided into 9 levels. Each level had dozens of stone platforms, but the higher you went, the fewer platforms there were. At the very top, there were only 5 or 6 platforms. This was the 9 heavenly steps. Here, countless powerful individuals who had entered Sacred Spirit Mountain longed to stand. Only by reaching this place could one receive this Sacred Spirit baptism. However, to stand atop the 9 heavenly steps, one must possess immense strength. Beneath, many envious individuals would fiercely challenge anyone standing above. If you were weak, the only outcome would be to be blasted off and kicked down the steps. Only true powerhouses could stand on the 9 heavenly steps, looking down on the endless battles below like gods gazing at ants, while accepting the highest honor of Sacred Spirit Mountain, the Sacred Spirit Baptism. At this moment, some figures had already proudly stood on the 9 heavenly steps. Except for the lower levels, where challengers still constantly surged up, the top 3 levels presented a stark contrast, marked by an eerie calm. On the top 3 levels, there were no more than 30 people in total. Below the first layer, some powerful figures gazed with complex expressions at the figures standing on the second layer. The fact that they had managed to fight their way up from below and stand here naturally indicated that they were no ordinary individuals. However, even so, they could not take another step forward, as the place ahead was no longer within their reach. That was a place where only the top-tier talents of the younger generation from the North Tsang continent had the right to battle. At this moment, on the second layer of the 9 heavenly steps, which countless strong figures were watching, though it was eerily quiet, the atmosphere was strange. 7 figures stood, each occupying a corner. Though no one released spiritual energy to exert pressure, the tension in the air was enough to suffocate anyone nearby. At the very front stood an ordinary man dressed in rough cloth. His hands hung slightly, and he seemed oblivious to the strange atmosphere on the platform. His eyes were even slightly closed, as if he was resting his mind. Despite this, the other 6 people looked at him with wariness in their eyes. It was Xun'er. Now, the true number 1 among the younger generation of the North Tsang continent. In one corner, Xun'er also stared intently at Xun'er. After a moment, she turned her head and looked toward the burning battlefield below. Countless battles were erupting, with figures scattered everywhere, yet she did not see the figure she was looking for. Where the heck did Chen go? Xun'er murmured, a hint of worry on her delicate face. Originally, she had made plans to meet up with Chen, but after waiting an entire day yesterday, she had not seen him. So, she had no choice but to come here first. But now, even at this moment, Chen had not shown up. This made her anxious. Could something have happened to him? Heh, you still think that guy is going to show up? A cold laugh rang out from nearby. Xun'er turned to look and saw Luing grinning darkly. She immediately snorted coldly, too lazy to respond to him. That guy hasn't shown up for so long. There are only 2 possibilities. Either he was killed, or after obtaining a few spiritual treasures, he's satisfied and scared to come back here. Turning around and leaving Sacred Spirit Mountain, Lu Ying laughed, his eyes full of mockery. But he's actually smart, knowing that if he continues on, whether he can make it out alive is up in the air. Shut up. Xun'er snapped coldly. Lu Ying's eyes flashed with coldness, but he then smiled faintly. You don't believe me? Well, we'll see. If he dares show up, don't worry, I'll treat him well. Make him hand over the spiritual treasures, and then have him crawl out of here. Xun'er gritted her silver teeth, utterly disgusted by Lu Ying. But the situation here was still unclear, and acting rashly wasn't wise. She could only sneer. What's there to be proud of? You've been cultivating for so many years, consuming all the resources of your shadow chamber of commerce, and only now have you achieved what you have. If you wait another year or two, you might not even have the qualifications to act so arrogantly in front of others. Lu Ying's expression darkened, and a sinister smile appeared on his face. Oh? So you hold that guy in such high regard? If he's so threatening, when he shows up, I'll just kill him, and everything will be over. Lu Ying paused, his eyes filled with even more sarcasm. Of course, that's only if that guy dares show up. I wonder. Roar. But just as Lu Ying was finishing his sentence, a dragon's roar suddenly echoed from the edge of the sky. Everyone looked up and saw, in the distance, a flash of light, as if a giant dragon's phantom was soaring into the air. On top of the dragon, a tall figure stood, facing the wind. Chen. Xun'er's eyes immediately lit up with joy as she recognized the familiar figure. He really has guts. Lu Ying's eyes grew even colder, a sinister smile creeping across his face. This kid had dared to show up. Since that was the case, Lu Ying wouldn't hold back. Chen, who had been keeping his eyes closed all this time, slowly opened them at that moment. His deadpan eyes gazed indifferently at the distant dragon phantom, and he murmured softly, "Dragon soar art? To think he's already reached the dragon soar stage. Quite unexpected." Roar. Chen stood atop the dragon's phantom, his gaze sweeping over the chaotic battlefield below, before shifting directly to the 9 heavenly steps on the summit of the mountain. Chen looked up at the scene, then stomped his foot. The illusory image of a giant dragon exploded with a deafening roar, its speed suddenly surging. It shot across the war-torn sky and then soared upwards, heading straight for the 9 heavenly steps. Is that Chen from the Northern Heaven Spiritual Academy? Chen's dramatic display immediately drew the attention of many. Seeing him attempting to ascend the 9 heavenly steps, some of the stronger cultivators' expressions changed. They wanted to intervene, but then they remembered Wu Tong, who had lost an arm to Chen. They hesitated. Although Chen appeared to be in the early heaven-reaching stage, no one dared underestimate him now. Reckless interference could come at a great cost. As these cultivators hesitated, the illusory dragon image carrying Chen had already reached the mountain peak. He stomped again, and his figure shot upwards like a bolt of lightning, charging up the 9 heavenly steps. His movements were as fast as lightning, leaping over one platform after another, and with the gaze of the onlookers, he soared straight to the top. The strong cultivators' gazes shifted, spiritual energy surging as they attempted to act, but in the end, they forced themselves to hold back, their eyes fixed on Chen. They wanted to see just how far he could go. Whoosh! Chen was incredibly fast, crossing several levels in just a few breaths. He reached the 4th level and then, like a great rock, leaped again, soaring higher. On the 2nd level, 7 figures were watching him, their gazes all different from one another. Whoosh! Chen's figure landed on the 3rd level. On this stone platform, there were a dozen figures, each radiating powerful spiritual energy fluctuations, none weaker than Wu Tong from before. However, Chen barely spared them a glance, showing no sign of stopping. With a single motion, he darted toward the 2nd level, where Xun'er, Chen, and the others were. Just as Chen's figure was about to pass, a loud shout rang out, like thunder shaking the sky. A man in a blue robe, with long hair and a cold expression, erupted with immense spiritual energy. His body shot upward like a predatory eagle, casting a suffocating shadow as he descended on Mu Chen. "Stay right there,"